Hey folks, welcome back to Dig Drive DIY. You know, it has been a very busy start to our summer, and I've got about 5 different projects in progress, some of which you know about and some of which you don't, but unfortunately none of them are finished. But nevertheless, I do have several important reasons why I want to make this video. First of all, I wanted to provide some project updates and bring you up to speed with what I have been working on and what you already know about. Then I wanted to do a little experiment with a new idea I have for responding to comments and answering the most frequently asked questions from each week's video. So I thought I'd do a little trial run of that idea and respond to the comments of the most recent 4 or 5 videos and see what you think. After that, I'm going to give you a peek behind the curtain, so to speak, and show you some of the things that have been keeping us really busy that you normally don't get to see on this channel. And finally, I want to talk about one of the things that I really struggle with when it comes to being a YouTuber. I've just come to accept that I'm bad at this part of it. And well, when we do that, hopefully the reason for this video will make more sense. So anyway, I'm loaded up to take my pickup truck over to the guy that's going to do the wrap on it. And I didn't have anyone to give me a ride back home, so I'm just going to tow the Jeep over there. And that way when I drop off the truck, I have a way to get back home. But on the way there, we'll talk more about this stuff. So let's just get going.
Dig Drive DIY.
All right, well, first of all, I thought I'd give an update on some of the current projects. And obviously the one most current, because I'm driving it right now, is the new to me F-150. It's a 2017. It's got 207,000 miles on it. I've already put about 1,000 miles on it, by the way, but it is doing well. I've made some mechanical maintenance type upgrades so far that you'll be seeing soon. And currently I'm on my way to a town called Payne, Ohio, and I met a gentleman down there named Brock. He's got a TikTok channel actually called B4 Wraps, and he's going to wrap it to look more like the Bronco. We've talked about it, and I'm excited to see how that turns out. Once I get that done, I'm going to bring it back home, and then I've got some wheels and tires to put on it and a few other goodies that'll hopefully spice it up and make it look the way I want it to. So that's where the F-150 is. That's all coming soon. Another project update, and the most recent video was the blockhouse landscaping job. That's probably going to be on hold for a bit because, well, we quite frankly don't know what we're going to do with it yet. Kara's got to make up her mind. She knows she wants some kind of cedar beds. I don't know if we're going to buy some pre-made kits or if I'm going to build something. It'd be a heck of a lot cheaper if I just built some beds, probably went to the lumber yard and got some cedar. Another project that's in the works right now is the barn door tailgate on Louis. And what I mean by a barn door tailgate is that you can basically open the tailgate from either direction. You can swing it open. It's a swinging gate that would open with hinges on the side so that I can basically open it like a regular door, drive my tractor in, then close the door, and that would be really handy. All right, so Kyle from Spicer Designs is in the middle of making me some test pieces that I can use to try to mock up how the tailgate swing mechanism is going to work. Then I'll hopefully put that on the Louis tailgate, and then it can go to paint. If you've been following the channel for a long time, you'll know that one of my biggest goals was to have Louis and the F-750 in the Harlan Days Parade this year, which is the first Saturday in August. And right now, with only 2 months until that parade, it feels like a tall order to get Louis painted before then, but I'm hoping it can still happen. The main obstacle is getting that tailgate done first, and then I'll take it over there and it'll be in the hands of, you know, John over at Custom Trucks. So we'll see. The last project update that I'll talk about is the Bronco, and that one's easy because there is no update. I haven't had a chance to work on it. That's kind of a common theme of the last year or so. It's still sitting in the barn. I still know I need to work on it, but I haven't. So with a few project updates completed, I wanted to move into a new segment that I hope to do more of. Well, there's a catch to that. I'll tell you at the end of the video why there's a catch to this, but every video I release, there seems to be like a most frequently asked question in response to the video, or a most frequently made comment. I always wish, you know, I try to respond to as many comments as I can, although it's getting more and more difficult as I get more and more comments, but I always wish I could answer them all at once. So my idea would be to make her like a response video. I'm going to do the 5 most recent videos. I did a video where we did Harlan Park cleanup day, and I took my skid loader and the hydro bucket to the park. I used the hydro bucket to work up the diamonds and grade them out, and it worked fantastic. The 2 most common questions from that video were, how does the hydro bucket work on virgin soil? And the answer is, I haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried to work up like Well, virgin soil, like without any vegetation, it would work great. I have done that. Virgin soil that has vegetation and weeds would require lots of trips over it to get it ground up, but I think it would work great as well. So that bucket keeps surprising me, keeps impressing me. The other question in that video was, what are you going to come up with a name for the skid loader? I wish I could. You know, skid loader is technically the wrong term. It's a compact track loader, but I've never said that in my entire life. So there was another video called We'd Be in the Swamp Without It, and that was a tile repair video that I did. We patched up a tile over at Greg's that was full of roots from some willow trees, and then we had some muskrat damage to the bank of a pond nearby. And so that video, I explained how drainage tile works, and it was really neat. It got a lot of good response, a lot of great comments, but by far the most popular question was, what happens to the water once it gets into the tile? Well, the answer is, it goes in the tile and then it travels to creeks, ditches, streams, and then it flows from there to the river. The Maumee River is our closest river, so that's where our water goes. But we have a lot of man-made ditches alongside all of our roads, and those ditches carry water, and they have to be at a low enough grade or elevation to catch all those field tile that are buried to drain the fields. All right, then I had a video called The Art of Unwrapping a New Truck, and that was about this truck right here, because I bought an older truck than what I had, a 2017. It's got a high miles, and it had a black wrap on a silver truck. And how ironic was it that I sold my black truck because I wanted it to be silver, and the silver truck that I bought was wrapped black. Anyway, there's two most frequent questions that popped up there, and the first of which was it the right decision? Should I have purchased a truck with so many miles on it? For what I do, it's fine. You know, I don't think I'm going to have a lot of trouble. If I do, fortunately, I spent a small enough amount on it that I think I'll be okay, even if I have to make a major repair. The most frequent question in that video was, why didn't you just wrap your black truck with silver on the top and bottom? Well, that would have been a lot more expensive. You know, what I'm doing to this silver truck is going to be putting a black accent on it. If I'd have wrapped the black truck and tried to make it look the way I wanted, I'd have been doing the roof and the hood and the corners and the, you know, a lot more work to do it that way. And the upgrades that I wanted to do to this truck, like a new leather interior and different wheels and tires and a lift, it just seemed like it didn't make sense to do it to that truck. That truck was already nice enough looking and would make someone else a perfectly good truck that I wouldn't have to make those investments. So, you know, that truck was valued at $15,000. I'd have been putting another $5,000 in it in upgrades, and I would have been at $20,000 on a 170,000 mile truck. So that didn't make sense. It made more sense to buy a $9,000 pickup and then put $5,000 or $6,000 worth of upgrades in it to make it look the way I wanted to. And that's what I'm doing, and I think that's more fun. I've always wanted to do this kind of stuff to a newer truck anyway. Then I did a video where I used the Hydro Bucket and I did 5 driveway upgrades in one day. That was really fun, and I loved using that bucket once again. But by far the most frequent question there was, why do you spend so much time on your driveway? Wouldn't it be easier just to concrete or asphalt the whole thing? That would be so expensive, I can't even imagine. I think to concrete my driveway would be upwards of $100,000 at least. To asphalt it would be at least $50,000. So, you know, in my lifetime, I'm not going to spend that much money on stone on my driveway. So I just keep regrading it. It's fun. I look at it like mowing the yard. You mow your grass every week to make it and keep it looking nice. Why not grade my driveway once every couple months? It's not that time consuming, and for someone like me that enjoys that stuff, it's fun. I like it. The other most frequent question was, how do we keep the weeds out of our driveway? And the answer to that is a lot of work. Kara does most of that, to be honest with you. She pulls weeds, she sprays weeds, and we grade the driveway a lot and try to keep it nice. That's how we keep all the weeds out of the driveway. It's just a ton of work. People would be surprised how often you have to maintain it and keep it clean, you know. The most recent video was the landscaping next to the blockhouse, and we ripped out all the existing vegetation and flowers and landscaping that we had, and I put in just stone and made it a clean slate. And there was 2 things that popped up in that video too. The first of which, people noticed that the blockhouse foundation has been cracking and some of the blocks need repointed, retucked, and that's very true. The last time we retucked the blockhouse mortar was right before our wedding in 2003. My father-in-law Rick did it, as a matter of fact. And the damage that you see on the blockhouse now is the result of 22 years of movement. And so it has moved, you know, a ½ inch, quarter inch in some places in those 22 years. The other comment was, aren't the trees damaging the foundation of the blockhouse, the roots of the trees? They very well could be, but they're not doing it in the right way. The blockhouse foundation is actually sinking and falling down. You would think that the roots of the tree would be pushing and heaving up on it, and it isn't doing that. So if there are roots underneath the foundation, they're not pushing up because the foundation is sinking. We're trying to decide if we want to do something to try to level up the foundation on the blockhouse. That's going to be probably a big investment, but it might be worth it. The other comment on that video was, if you hate the trees so much, why don't you just cut them down? And I need to clarify that, because I did say we hate the trees. We hate the species of trees. We love having trees there. So we like the shade that they provide. We like the look and the aesthetic that they provide. And we can't imagine what it would be like at our property right there without them, because we would lose the majority of our shade that covers our patio area, the seating area for the pond, and the center of the driveway. I mean, it would create an enormous hole in our skyscape, so to speak. So that's a little update and response to all the most recent videos. I'm never going to do that again on this channel, but I hope to do it again in another format, and I'll talk about that at the end. But I am almost here to where I need to drop off this truck, so I'm going to get it dropped off, say hi to Brock, and then I'll rejoin you as I drive home. All right, so you said that you gotta really deep clean this before you can put that vinyl on there, right?
Yeah. Vinyl doesn't stick all that great to, I mean, dust, bugs, anything like that. So,
yeah. Well, thanks a lot. Just let me know when you think you're wrapped up, and we'll come get her back.
Will do. Give you a
All
phone
right.
call.
Thanks again,
Appreciate
buddy.
you.
Thank you. All right, I made it back home after dropping the truck off over there with Brock. Hopefully he gets that wrapped done. I'm really excited to get that truck finished and put together. It should look pretty cool. But in the beginning of this video, I said I would talk about some of the behind the scenes stuff, or give you a peek behind the curtain of kind of what goes on that I don't always share. And most of you know this, but our girls are heavily involved in sports, and that occupies a bunch of our time, but there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. It's one of my favorite things. And the girls got to go to the Indiana State track and field competition, where Ella competed in pole vault and Eva ran a couple relay events, and they both did fantastic. We're super proud of the season they've had, and couldn't find a better use of my time, to be quite honest with you. And we're doing softball right now. We had 5 softball games this week, so that keeps us busy currently. There's some projects going on around here that you haven't seen anything about. For example, Kara is always busy. Kara takes care of the yard. She edges the driveway. She cleans off the patio almost every day. But back this winter, she started redoing our basement. She wanted to repaint the walls. We're going to do some new carpet. And she's done almost all of that herself, even though I did film parts of it. I got involved on the high ceiling bit where we had to paint above the stairway. So I had to set up a pretty sketchy scaffolding and do some of that. When the basement's done, I'll probably have a video for that to update what we've done and how we've changed things. It should be pretty cool. Another project that was a huge investment that you haven't seen or heard mention of was an upgrade to my storage system. I started making these videos and saving all the files on my computer, and then I filled up the computer and had to move on to portable hard drives. And I've amassed this huge collection of desktop hard drives, and then I started moving to portable SSDs, and well, that system wasn't working very well. So I had a viewer actually see my desktop and how things were set up, and he said, you need to make a change. I got in contact with him, and he helped me to build out a whole new storage setup. And this was a big deal and a lot of money. So it's an investment in the future of the channel. Pat, he's got a business called White Collar Woodsmen. There'll be a link down below, but he helped me set up a new NAS, which is a network access storage device, and I've got 40 terabytes now. But anyway, you'll be able to see more about that. I did a whole video on it that will be in the new location I'm going to talk about. And so yeah, if you're interested in that, go check it out. Stuff at work's keeping me busy. I still make all the videos for G&K Concepts. I'm never on camera, but I do all the videoing and the editing and all the production work. So those occupy a lot of my time. And obviously, you know, being at work takes up a good bit of my time too. But there has been a big change, or another change in regards to work. And that's going to lead us into what I'm talking about, because I cut back to 3 days at work. I work for G&K on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and now I'm off on Mondays and Fridays to try to make, better YouTube videos. So I've basically given myself a demotion at work, and I'm going to rely more heavily on doing the YouTube content. And through meeting some other YouTubers recently, namely Kyle Spicer from Spicer Designs and Adam of Hometown Acres and Tim of Tractor Time with Tim, those guys do something well that I don't do well. And that is, they've capitalized on other ways of making money off YouTube, namely through commissions or brand deals or doing sponsorships where they get paid to promote a product. And I'm just bad at that. I've tried it. I've tried to do some ad reads. I've tried to get commission deals, and some of those work out when they're products that I really like. But as far as doing this video brought to you by AG1 or this video brought to you by Simply Safe, I've done some of that, and I don't like it. I don't like having to reply to all the emails, and it's more work. And then you're beholden to someone. It's like you're working for someone else. And the point of this YouTube channel for me was to work for myself. And so in an effort to keep it that way, where I don't have to try to seek out and find other avenues for earning money from YouTube, I've decided to do a Patreon page. If you don't know what Patreon is, then I'll do a brief explanation. Patreon is a different website where you can invite viewers to become members, and basically you will provide additional content. So much of what you saw in this video, behind the scenes stuff, responding to comments on videos of projects that normally wouldn't be good content for this channel, well, I can put those on Patreon as additional content, and then the viewers that wish to participate and subscribe can pay a membership fee of like $5 per month, and they'll get to see all that content. They'll get exclusive access to ask questions, and we'll have more interaction over there. One thing I do want to point out is nothing will change for our Sunday uploads. If you've come to this channel and you like watching every Sunday and like seeing the projects that I do, none of that'll change. You won't even hardly know it's there. You're under no obligation to go to Patreon or do any of that stuff. I understand if you don't want to do it. I'm a patron to several YouTubers, and I like what I get from it. So I gladly subscribe to them and I help to support them, but I get it if you don't want to do it. It's something I've really struggled with. I've thought about it for over 5 months, but there's some other creators that I really trust and admire that have done Patreon, and it's worked for them. And I think with the style of videos I like to do, where I'm not chasing a bunch of extra sponsorship money, I'll welcome any product or something that fits the channel. And you got to remember that even though you might get a free product like a wood splitter or a mini skid loader or an attachment, those products don't pay the bills. They're nice to have and you can make content from them, but they're not helping buy groceries or pay the insurance bill or pay my nephew Trent to help edit videos. So that's why I want to experiment with the Patreon. I'm going to have a lot more. I'll have a video over on Patreon to explain more of it and how it works. And there's also a video on Patreon of the installation of the storage device that we just did. So those will be free to view and kind of give you an idea of what you might expect over on Patreon. And so that's what we're going to try to do. Anyway, that's why I wanted to make this video. Hopefully you go check it out on Patreon, and if you're so inclined, join up. Otherwise, I want to thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope that you liked it. If I'm lucky, I will see you in the next one.